what a week.
Yeah?
Yeah. Lots of things happened.
Well, there weren't any announcements from anybody, so what could have happened?
Well, lots of AirPod Pro reviews.
Yeah?
Apple TV Plus came out.
True.
And, yeah, that was a lot for me.
That was a lot. You know what? It was also a long gap between recordings.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we recorded early, and I actually felt like we got a week off.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we haven't been in our car studio for a solid week.
We should schedule in once a month Friday recording. Because I liked the break.
Yeah, it's nice.
Kind of let me reset.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can do that.
Okay.
Maybe.
Probably not.
Probably. So, what'd you do this weekend?
Me and the whole fam went up to Kansas City to hang out with some friends. Used to be neighbors. But they've moved all over the country in the last 7 or 8 years, chasing jobs. Like Goldman Sachs type jobs. And so...
Corporate jobs.
Like big time... Yeah. And so... They're totally chill people, but like I'm intimidated sometimes when they start talking about their careers.
What if they're just like janitors and they're not telling you the truth? Like, yeah, I work for Goldman Sachs. I clean the toilets. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. But technically you still work at Goldman Sachs.
Right.
Man.
I work on Wall Street. I literally sweep the street. Right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. I mean, it's possible. But he listens to the show, and so at one point over dinner, he was like, so, I don't know, like, I kind of didn't think anything about it because they're super considerate people anyway, right? But when we were getting ready to head up, he was like, hey, we're getting ready to go to the store. Any dietary needs for either you or the kids or just preferences? And I was like, oh, well, since you're asking, we've been doing keto. And
that's very woke of him.
Right? And I said, not that we need to be super strict on a friend weekend, but if you're asking.
But don't you give me those carbs, bro.
This is what we're doing. And I said, so maybe, I think I said maybe not pasta and not rice, or not pasta and not bread, heavy meals or something like that. So we started talking over dinner and he was like, well, you've mentioned keto on the podcast.
Oh.
Nice. And so that's what made me ask. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, he's told me before that he's listening, but you never know if someone's really listening.
Right.
Or if they just...
So could this be considered, like, our second actual, like, podcast listener request?
Request?
Well, Marcus, he requested the song for you. And then this somehow correlates back to, like, him... I don't know.
He knew to request because he had been listening to the show.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, yeah, my buddy Josh knew to ask about food because he'd been listening to the show.
Right. I wonder when someone's going to ask me what candy I want. So you went and saw them?
Yep.
Anything else?
The Chiefs won yesterday in a nail biter.
Nice.
Super exciting. So... Not that you care.
I do. I actually created a sports ball holder.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What's a sports ball holder?
You would know if you looked up my Instagram. So, you watch the sports ball.
Podcast co-host shaming.
You watch the sports ball. I put the sports balls in a holder.
Well, all right.
There you go.
Something in your workshop.
Yeah, my garage.
I saw the shoe holder. That looked nice.
Yeah.
For your muddy shoes.
Yep.
But... yeah, so we were driving back yesterday, and I was listening to the game on the radio, and our quarterback's been out, and late in the game, like 2-something to go, our kicker hits a 54-yarder to tie it.
That's a long kick.
And apparently the wind was swirling yesterday, so that's not exciting if you're kicking a long kick.
Yeah.
But... we made a good defensive stop, which is a weird thing for a Chiefs fan to say lately. And we got the ball back, and we kicked another 44-yard field goal to win it as time expired. So that was exciting.
That is thrilling.
Yeah.
What else?
What else? I think that's it. I've been riding a lot.
I was going to say, wrong. You rode like 3.5 hours this weekend.
I did ride 3.5 hours this weekend.
You have not ridden that far in a long time.
Correct.
That should have been like almost maybe number one on your list of things you did this weekend.
I messaged you last night because we rode together last night. I said I'm really surprising myself with my rides are not hard and fast, but they're long. And I'm surprised that I had that kind of stamina reservoir still available.
Yeah.
Again, the watts are not there.
Doesn't matter.
But
you get the time in. You're
yeah,
on the bike.
yeah.
You're spinning the pedals.
My butt hurts.
Yeah. I can see that.
But yeah, 2 hours and 12 minutes while watching Rounders on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And another hour and a half plus with you last night. 65 miles.
That's a lot of miles.
Good job. Miles. Thanks, buddy.
My weekend? Let's see. I can't ever remember what I did.
Did you make a sports ball holder?
I made a sports ball holder, and I rode my bike, and I don't really, I watched Apple TV Plus, watched the shows on that.
What'd you watch?
All of them. And Jack Ryan, I watched Jack Ryan also. So, yeah, my weekend, that's about it.
I like your sports ball holder.
Thanks.
It looks like things that you see at Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold the ball in with bungees.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to be too specific. I still wanted people to go look.
Well, they need to look.
Check out Run Bike Mike on Instagram.
So what are we going to talk about?
We are going to talk about an Android thing that is supposed to come out, but hasn't officially come out, but there's a back door, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about Kansas City and AT&T faking people out.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about auto voicemail.
Okay.
And
AirPods Pro.
AirPods Pro.
Yep.
But first, do you want to hear a joke about construction?
Sure.
I'm still working on it.
I got to set up for that. Nice. All right, let's talk about this.
Let's talk about it. Welcome back to Lunchtime Tech Talk. I'm Chad.
And I'm Mike.
And yeah, I think first, do you want to just jump right in off the top rope, or do you want to save it for last?
I don't know what the top rope is, but let's jump.
All right, AirPods.
Okay.
Pro.
Yeah. So, lots of reviews out there about them.
I've used them.
You've actually used them.
I don't own a pair.
Yeah.
But I have a buddy who didn't mind sharing earwax with me.
Yeah. It's very brave of him. I mean...
They were super clean. He's kind of a germaphobe.
Oh.
So, he said he wipes them before he uses them every time.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you just put them in. I want to see them in your ear. Like, I want to see what they look like.
Right, because they do look different than the
original
AirPods.
But they're not... I mean, we talked about wireless earbuds last week. They're still not crazy huge.
Right.
Like, they still have the stem coming down. Mm-hmm. They have the same general outline profile,
mm-hmm.
but the 3D look of them is a little different.
Yep.
And so instead of him putting them in, he was like, well, do you want to try them out? And I was like, yeah.
Of course.
Of course I do.
Duh.
And then I still made him put them in because I wanted to see them.
See what they look like.
I still wanted to see them, yeah.
Yeah.
But he had the medium-sized tip on, which I think I would probably prefer the small, but having not tried it, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he went through to the settings, and they have like a tester
mm-hmm.
to make sure that the seal's right and everything. So for those of you who haven't scrolled through the endless AirPods Pro thing on Apple, there's a microphone that's inside your ear also that listens to what you're listening to, and it, one, makes sure that you're not hearing anything from the outside, but it, two, listens to how the sound's bouncing around inside your ear and making sure that the acoustics are right, and it will adjust things to make the sound optimum for you.
Yeah.
And so he actually ran this test thing on me, made sure that it had a good seal in my ear, and then I played with the noise canceling versus transparency stuff, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I totally couldn't hear him when he was talking, and then I clicked transparency, and then I could hear him just fine. I mean, there's still music playing in my ear.
Right.
But I could hear him.
Yeah. So I have said multiple times that I am nervous about squishy end on headphones on this podcast. And I watched a bajillion and one YouTube video reviews.
Did you watch MKBHD?
Him and everybody else.
And everybody
apparently there are 3,450 million people that do Apple review stuff on YouTube.
I know, right?
It's insane the number of people now.
Why don't we get stuff shipped to us? We could do
reviews. I
reviews.
don't even know that they're getting it shipped to them. MKBHD is. But these people who have 10,000, 20,000 views, there's tons of them. I started watching 2 or 3 videos, and all of a sudden my YouTube suggestion was all AirPods Pro reviews. But coming out of that, after watching a whole bunch of them and basically trying to get a whole bunch of different perspectives, people were saying that they are the most comfortable in-ear headphones that they've ever had.
And I think part of that is because, so like I told you with my Bluetooth headphones, that are admittedly super cheap, that silicone tip goes on a metal stem. So there's still metal inside your ear. Whereas these, it's a blunt end and the tip, pops inside the headphone. I think that matters.
Yeah, probably. The squishy is even more squishy.
It is full-on squishy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sat there and I thought about it for days and days and days and days and watched all these reviews and all this stuff, and
then at 9:14 a.m. Saturday morning, you texted me a picture of Amazon Prime and said, "Yep, it's happening, bro."
Yeah, I ordered them.
You ordered
them. I got them on sale, though.
You got a sale.
The sale is off.
It's off.
It's gone.
I waited too long.
You did. It was Target was the one that was originally running the sale. They had $15 off of them, so they had them for $234.99, and Amazon matched it. Now the downfall is that I couldn't get them right away, so I don't have them yet, and I'm hoping that they come in within a week. But they said it could be up to 2 weeks.
Dang, that's 6%, bro.
Yeah. It basically paid for shipping, or a tax.
Right.
Because the tax was roughly $20.
Yeah.
When all said and done.
It's not nothing.
Yeah. No, I was pretty excited about it. I'm going to give my wife my other AirPods that I currently have. She's been kind of using them over the weekend for workouts and stuff, getting used to them.
Yeah.
And they'll work great for her, because she doesn't use them for hours and hours and hours at a time. She just uses them for workouts.
So she's not going to notice the depleted battery.
No, I don't think it'll affect her all that much.
Yeah.
It might a little bit, but not too terribly. But yeah, I'm super stoked.
You should be.
I know. I like all those reviews that I've listened to and watched. I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to like these.
I think you will too.
We'll see. Couple weeks. I'll give you my full-on review.
Yeah.
So that's the AirPods Pro. It's exciting. They're out.
Yes.
What else do we got?
While we're on the topic of Apple.
Okay.
It wasn't when I upgraded to iOS 13, but it was one of the dot releases.
Okay.
After I did my initial sign-in, I got a pop-up on my screen that said something to the effect of, "Would you like us to check your contact list when you get phone calls? And if it doesn't match, send it straight to voicemail."
Oh, that's cool.
Which is great for bot calls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Send those suckers.
And so I clicked yes, absolutely. Please sign me up. That was what the whole button said. Yes, absolutely. Please sign me up for this. No, but I clicked it, and I think I've, it's made it through whatever the algorithm is, maybe twice in the last 2 weeks. I've actually gotten a phone call that was someone I didn't know. And, of course, I ignored it. But I've also only gotten 2 voicemails from these calls.
Nice. So they're not leaving a message.
Right, because they're bots.
They're bots.
Yeah.
You don't have that, I just got one, right before we like left to come down here to podcast.
Oh, did you?
Where it's the one where it goes, hello.
Oh, God.
I hate that one because it's like a snotty person on the other end. Like, hello,
Well,
I'm
it's not
here.
even a snotty person. It's a snotty recording.
That's what I mean. Snotty robot. So anyways, I will be interested into looking into this. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I don't know where it is in settings, but obviously you could Google it and find it.
Yeah.
Because I just clicked, yeah, that sounds great.
Isn't that what you normally have to do for any settings in Apple products?
Yes.
Because they're
It's
all
not
hidden?
intuitive. It's not intuitive.
They're super hidden.
They are super hidden.
That's a good one. I like that. I think it's going to be a good feature for a lot of people.
I think so. Also, I was in Kansas City this weekend, but I was also in Kansas City Monday and Tuesday for a conference, which is why we recorded early.
Yeah. You're loving Kansas City.
While I was up there, I noticed on my phone, it said 5GE. And I took a screenshot and I sent it to you. And I said, Mike, apparently I've got 5G right now. What'd you say back to me?
I don't know exactly what I said, but I said, fake news, bro.
I said, fake news, what do you mean?
Yeah, so 5GE, for all of you people that are on AT&T, you might run into this. I ran into this, I believe, in the Memphis area, and I believe somewhere in North Carolina this summer. So if you haven't heard, back when all the 5G hubbub was going on, and it was kind of like super, super big news all throughout the summer, and AT&T decided to come out with their 5GE signature.
We haven't had an E since 3GE, right?
Fake.
Did we have 4GE?
No.
Just 3GE.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason why you don't see this a lot is because it's actually just fake. It's not really what it really is. 5GE is 4G LTE. And from what I understand, to make it 5GE, it's basically the equipment running in the background, except for the transmitting antennas, have some sort of technology in them that will support 5G technology when the antennas come out. So it's really just, think of it as, the way I've been told is, you have a server or a piece of equipment that is capable of doing 5G, but the actual antennas themselves are not producing 5G. So it's saying this could be potentially faster,
but it's not yet.
But it's not. Some people are actually like, this is slower than 4G LTE because they're in a bad area, but
Right.
It's really just 4G LTE. It's a gimmick to make people think that they are getting 5G. So whenever somebody has an AT&T phone and another person has a Verizon phone, somebody's like, I'm on 5G. Oh, you're only on 4G LTE? Cool. I must be faster because 5's bigger than 4.
Right.
And, I mean, technically, yes, I guess the hardware could make it a little faster.
I'm on a 5G system without having the actual, like, hardware to spit out the 5G.
Yes. And if you have an iPhone, you have no way of consuming 5G, actual 5G.
So that was my first question to you, was like, oh, am I not really on 5G because I have an iPhone?
Right.
And you said, well, yes, but no.
Yes. Yeah, so there's only a few.
Because I knew that the iPhone couldn't handle it. Like, it doesn't have the right antennas or whatever to accept true 5G.
Yep. There's only a few phones out there. Samsung makes one, and maybe Huawei. I'm not sure if they do, but a lot of people that have 5G don't actually want to be on 5G because those phones that can operate on 5G, the batteries just drain super fast when they're on 5G.
Of course.
Because they haven't improved. They haven't
optimized it
Yeah,
yet.
the technology's not optimized.
Right.
And there's a reason why you don't see iPhones going to this. Because iPhone, generally, for the most part, Apple is not a company that, creates something brand new.
They're not first adopters.
No, they're not. They are the ones who come in and take a technology that's been around maybe for a year or two, and they try to perfect it.
They're like, oh, that's neat. Watch this.
Yes, watch this. See what we did to the watch world?
Right.
I mean, they dominated that, right?
Yeah, they did.
And they got a lot of harassment for it.
Are we good with the 5G?
I am great with the 5G.
Speaking of watches.
Okay.
I saw this and I forgot to add it to my notes. Alphabet, a.k.a. Google,
Yes.
bought Fitbit.
That is a big news.
$2.1 billion.
Yeah, you can't make a good smartwatch, so you buy a company that's failing.
Exactly.
You know what? Good for Fitbit.
Right?
Because Fitbit was literally going in the garbage.
Yeah.
Anybody who followed any of that stuff, I mean, Fitbit has not been doing good, and they got bought out by Google. Thank God for those people.
They got rescued.
Yeah.
They had a $10 billion valuation when they had their IPO in 2015 or 17. I know it was an odd year. And then they got completely bought out this weekend for $2.1 billion.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they went down, but some people became very wealthy for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And that's good because you know what? Google really hasn't had a good track record with their Android Wear stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll be able to make something like I don't think has Google actually made a watch themselves, or did they just produce the Android Wear? Because
I don't actually know.
So let's pretend they haven't, right?
Okay.
And let's pretend it's like the Pixel phone, because the Pixel phone is Android's phone. I mean, Google's phone.
Right.
Maybe they can do something along the lines of what they've done with the Pixel phone, to where it's almost similar to how Apple works with their products, is that they basically own and design every aspect of it to operate perfectly with the OS. And I'm thinking that maybe that's what they're probably going for. Plus, they've got a Fitbit name. Everybody knows Fitbit.
Right.
So they can make a really good, compelling smartwatch using Android Wear, optimizing everything about it for their operating system, and then have the Fitbit name on it that people either like and trust.
Yeah.
So, yeah, big news.
Big news. And whoever I read this from initially, maybe has a little bit of a cynical lens on it, but they were like, Google just bought another way to track all of its, because it was like, it's another platform for them to gather data, it's another platform for them to sell that gathered data, and it's another platform for them to advertise to people. And I was like, well, yeah, but also no.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it gives them all the edges.
Yeah.
In that area.
But yeah, it will be interesting to see if because in that same article they had mentioned 3 other things that they had bought recently that just did nothing. They basically bought them, helped out the creators of the company, and then the technology failed out or whatever. And so it'll be interesting to see if they keep Fitbit where it is, just as kind of a, I don't know.
God, they can't.
It's a step counter.
They
to
can't.
me. I know that they've got some that are smart, that have screens and talk to your phone and all of that stuff. But to me, Fitbit is still just a step counter that's a silicone band, and I have no reason to think otherwise of it.
Yes, it's a very entry level, and the ones that you get into that are the smart watch series,
they're super expensive.
To me, it's they're $200 to $250. And at this point, you can get an Apple Watch Series 3 for that same price.
Right. And for what you're actually getting out of it, I'm just buy a Garmin.
You could get a Garmin, too. Yeah.
That does the same thing for the same price.
Right.
If you're at that level. I mean, you can get a lot nicer Garmin, too.
Yeah.
You can also get a lot nicer Apple Watch.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just...
Yeah. There's a lot of other options out there that are proven.
Right.
And Fitbit just seemed to be grabbing at whatever they could.
Agreed.
And maybe this will move them forward.
Yeah. So
what's the next
Man,
topic?
this seems like we planned it out, but we totally didn't.
We planned all this out.
On the topic
100%.
of Android stuff. So there's apparently... They've been saying that they were going to come out with something like iMessage for a while. That would have read receipts and delivered receipts and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's called RCS Messaging or RCS Texting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not truly out yet, but apparently there's a back door that you can go ahead and download it and start using it if you want to.
Yes, and it's actually been out since 2016.
Well, see, now that's a long time. I just heard about it.
But the problem is that the carriers weren't supporting it.
Oh.
And so a lot of Android phones can actually support this, but if your carrier doesn't support it, then you can't actually use it. Or some people are finding out that their carriers are actually supporting it, and they're having to do whatever this backdoor thingy mabobber is that you had read about to get it to actually function.
Yeah.
So essentially, like Chad said, this basically brings Android into a closer realm of what iMessage is. And the reason why so many people who are on Androids go with like things like WeChat, or they go with Facebook Messenger, or they go with Snapchat, is because they like all those functionalities that SMS and MMS never offered them.
Right.
So MMS is basically what most of them use right now, which doesn't limit them as much on the number of characters.
Okay.
But it limits them on the number of file sizes. So that's why whenever you send somebody like a video on an Android, it always compresses it down to that hideous little square.
That makes so much sense now. My mom has been... So we had a storm... Sorry.
No, you're good.
Small tangent. My mom has been sending me videos of... Which videos are worse than pictures.
For sure.
Of the storm damage at her house. And it's like this super small, super pixelated, just awful. You could have shot this thing in 98.
Yes.
And I would believe that it was shot in 98.
Yeah.
Uploaded from a VCR into the digital world,
right,
and then sent to me.
Yes.
Versus being created on an S10.
Right.
A couple weeks ago.
Exactly. That's why so many people that are on Android don't actually use the stock messaging for sending videos and pictures.
My sister and I both said separately, will you just send us Snapchats, please?
Yes. And that's why.
And that's why.
Yeah. So SMS, which is what a lot of people were familiar with a long time ago, that was like kind of the original messaging.
Well, that's what companies still send out.
It's limited. It's limited to 100 and what is that? What was the Twitter
140?
thing? 160? I don't know. It was limited to 100 and some characters, and that's where Twitter was basically come up with.
Yeah.
Where they came up with that idea for Twitter, and then they increased it to 200 and something on Twitter. But SMS limits you. That's why if you see like an SMS message, a lot of times it'll come in as message 1, message 2, message 3.
Right.
Because it limits it. And that's how they broke that up. Well, it was really limiting on, I don't know that it could even do pictures or video. And then that's whenever MMS came out.
Okay. Multimedia?
I think that's what that means.
Sure.
And then so now this RCS is basically like the enhanced version of like you get to use stickers and you get to put full-fledged high-def videos.
I know that you can... I didn't read about this. I had a buddy telling me about it. He said that like you can message on Wi-Fi when you don't have service. All that stuff that I just take for granted in my little blue message world.
Yep. And that is why so many people that go back and forth between Android and iPhone, a lot of people will be like, iMessage is so superior. You can do so much on it.
Yeah.
And that's why whenever you're an iPhone user and you're in a group chat and you have all these cool things and then some green bubble dude comes along and like crushes that whole thing, because then it all goes to MMS.
Have you heard of like the cases of, they're calling it like text bullying, where like they'll start a group chat and then when the green person pops up, they'll like start a new group chat and just leave that person out.
Yeah. It's terrible, but it needs to happen.
It is, but it's the right thing to do.
So here's the cool thing. That's the cool thing about it, right?
Okay.
It brings it closer to what iMessage is.
Closer.
Brand new technology, aka 2016. But technology.
Well, not only that, but how long's iMessage been around?
Okay, I got a rant on this. All right,
okay.
I got a rant on this. 2016 people. This is the problem with Android phones. They can't be freaking updated. It's like you have to go through whatever the carrier tells you they can do. That's it.
You were telling me this a while back, and I had no idea. Like, whatever phone you buy, whatever operating system is on it, like, that's it.
That's it, unless the carrier allows you to update.
You're not
AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, all that stuff is controlling a lot of what is actually done on these phones.
Yeah, you're not able to still have... I sent you that text over the last week. Like, one of the tech people I follow found someone in an airport that's still running an Apple iPhone 3GS.
It's so ridiculous.
With the rounded back.
So ridiculous.
But it's possible. Because iOS...
It is for now.
Sure.
You won't be able to in a few months.
Are they dropping, like...
Yeah, there's some...
Everything before 4 or something like that?
There was something out there about the 5S's or the 5s. Anything before that, you had to have a specific update. Otherwise, the phone just stops working. Yeah. But no, this is what I'm getting at, man. Okay, so here's the next thing. Like, yeah, it's been around for a while, 2016, which is 3 years, almost going on 4.
Almost.
And we're just now starting to people are starting to hear about it, and some people are starting to get it. But here's the biggest downfall. In this day and age, whenever your security of your technological world is very, very important. People are data breaching stuff all the time.
All the time.
This still is not encrypted. It's like if you're going to invent a brand new technology for people to use for the next 10 years.
To message. To share all of
Why
their
is
pictures
it not
and
encrypted?
videos and everything else. Yeah.
I mean, here you go. iMessage, been encrypted from day one. That's just the way that they designed it.
Yeah.
So, a little disappointing that RCS isn't encrypted, and that is probably one of the major reasons why Apple says no, we will do MMS, but we are not going to RCS just yet. And they are sticking with, of course, iMessage. And that infuriates some people because they're like, well, iPhone just sticking to their own ecosystem. No, they're sticking to what's right.
It's safe.
It's better. It's just a better product. Now, if RCS came out and said, we're going to do everything iMessage does, plus we're going to encrypt it, then I'm sure Apple would be like, you know what, that'd be cool. We can all communicate, la-di-da-di-da. Granted, they'd be sad because their iMessage would go away, and I'm sure they would add some crazy feature to iMessage to keep you in that ecosystem.
Right.
But I think that's the big reason why they're like, we've already got MMS, we're not going to incorporate something else just because everybody else is doing it. We're not going to do it because there's a security flaw with it.
Yeah.
So, RCS.
RCS. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for reading up on that.
Yeah.
For whatever little bit you didn't already know. But
what else we got?
That's what I had for the day.
Oh, cool. So now we can do Crazy Tech.
Crazy Tech. If Apple and Cook decide that they both are satisfied, producing Series 5 with a short battery life, if there's nowhere to plug in when your screen shuts off, then I'll follow you into the dark.
Twist on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't about our podcast. It was about the technology we talked about. I have no clue what song you did. As far as I know, that was Let It Go on Frozen.
It's called I'll Follow You Into the Dark, so I didn't change the last line.
Okay.
But it's by Death Cab for Cutie.
Oh, wow. I was way off. They did not make Let It Go.
Did not make Let It Go.
All right. Well, do you want to go first, or do you want me?
You.
Okay. So, Elon Musk, that crazy bastard.
Crazy son of a bitch.
He's like a mad scientist, right?
Absolutely.
Dude's got Tesla, he created PayPal, he's got SpaceX, and now he's got this other thing that he's been talking about for years called the Hyperloop.
Uh-huh.
Well, they did like test tunnels and all this stuff where they're like
I've
doing these things, and eventually they're supposed to have actual vacuum sealed tubes with like train-like-esque things in them.
Isn't that crazy? To vacuum seal something that large?
But it can go super fast because there's nothing in it.
There's no friction. There's no
friction.
Gravity. There's.
I don't know how fast they go, but I think it's like somewhere like 700 some miles an hour, maybe more.
That's insane.
But they've got this competition. Well, not competition.
That's how a plane. Planes go 600 or 700 miles an hour.
Right.
Continue.
It's pretty cool.
It's crazy.
But they've got this thing where they're wanting people to come up with reasons why why their state should get them.
Mm-hmm.
And so Missouri, our state, has basically signed up to kind of say, hey, we're interested in this. And they want to essentially run a loop or a Hyperloop from Kansas City to St. Louis. That's their proposed plan.
That's about a 3.5 hour drive.
Yes.
Currently.
It says it will do it in 600 miles an hour. That's what this one says.
That's so crazy.
So what they're saying about this, what I thought was super, super crazy, is that they would need to apply, and it would basically be applying for a test track.
Okay.
And this test track would be 15 miles long to basically proof of concept that, hey, this is going to work, blah, blah, blah. But just the test track alone, 15 miles, would be anywhere from $300 million to $500 million.
Only million?
Only million. That's for 15 miles.
That's actually surprising to me.
Really?
I thought you were going to be in the B's.
Okay, let me keep going.
For 15 miles.
Okay.
Keep going.
So the estimated cost to build the full Hyperloop system across...
Hold on. I'm trying to think. I want to guess ahead of what you're saying.
Okay, let me finish here.
Okay.
So to build the full Hyperloop system across Missouri, so from Kansas City, which is literally one side of Missouri, to St. Louis, which is the other side of St. Louis, from west to east or east to west, whichever way you're going. How much do you... let's do two things.
I want to do the miles.
How much do you think per mile?
Oh, per mile.
And how much do you think total do you think this will be?
Okay, well, first of all, it's right at 200 miles across the state, isn't it?
I think
220 maybe?
That's probably right.
That's probably about right. So you told me 300 to 500 million for 15. So around 50 million a mile?
Okay. What do you think total?
Which puts us at... my math's going to get bad here. Which puts us at...
Chad's brain's thinking.
5 billion? 50 billion. 50 billion?
I'm not going to math.
All right, calculator
time. So
time.
you were really close.
Yeah.
Per mile. About 30 million to 40 million per mile.
Okay.
Holy crap.
Right.
Per mile?
Right.
That's insane.
Right.
But they're saying about 7.3 billion to 10.4 billion to build that one track from Kansas City to St. Louis or St. Louis to Kansas City. But they're think about the possibilities if these things got built all over the United States.
Right.
You could travel from like Missouri to California super fast.
Right.
In like no time, and you wouldn't have to go through all the stuff in the airports. There would be none of that whole worry about as much maintenance needs to be done and all that stuff, air traffic congestion. But I'm thinking that, okay, let's just pretend that they get this built.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be 20 years before this gets built.
Right. We're talking way in the future.
Yeah, I'm thinking 150 years before the U.S. would be like
all connected up. Yeah.
So pretty much right at the beginning of the prime of our life is whenever it'll really be going full bore. Right. Because with technology, we're going to live till we're 350.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
And if you go in one of these, I hear it like rolls back a few years.
Well, yeah. So the closer you get to the speed of light, the slower you age.
Yeah, and 600 is pretty quick.
It's pretty quick.
It's
but
pretty
again,
close.
planes are 600 also.
Well, they're up in the air, so it doesn't count.
Doesn't count. All right.
It
Got to be on the ground.
Yeah.
So the other thing about the Hyperloop, in my mind, is that the pricing is going to be set. A trip from Kansas City to St. Louis costs this much money every time you get on it. Mm-hmm. Whereas a frickin' plane ride, depending on the day of the week that you book and the day of week that you want to fly, and whether you're on a VPN and you're saying you're from London, but you're really not. You're sitting in Missouri. Like, it all matters.
Yes.
And the price changes.
Right.
For, to me, no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Trains, historically, are a set price. Like, so I would think that even if it's kind of expensive, like, it's going to be a standard kind of expensive.
Well, they wouldn't have to worry about things that standard trains have to worry about and airplanes have to worry about, which is weather, things on the track.
Sure.
All that stuff, because it would be in a sealed tube.
Underground. Or, well, I guess they don't have to be underground.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they don't have to be. What if it went like up and down like waves? Make you nauseous the whole way. Did a loop-de-loop.
It goes over the top of one hill and just gets airborne. Hits it at the bottom of the next hill. I don't think you can do waves at 700 miles an hour.
Maybe we can find out. But anyways, I thought that was kind of cool that Missouri is talking about proposing the plan. Because sometimes Missouri can be a little bit slow on new adopting of things.
Sure.
But we're in the middle of the United States.
Right. It makes sense for us to do things.
We usually let the West and the East Coast screw it up, and then we're like, oh, okay. We're like the Apple.
We wait to adopt.
Sure.
It's not that we wait to adopt. It's just that we don't know about anything.
Yeah, we don't get the carrier pigeon.
Until the East or the West Coast have done it.
Right.
But here's the thing, like, you know, Route 66 started in Missouri.
Oh, did it?
So, like,
I didn't know that.
Springfield's the birthplace.
Oh, be.
How about that, huh? So, like, why couldn't the Hyperloop start in Missouri?
Right.
No reason. I mean, I know it's really started in California because they've got some short test tracks out there and stuff, but, like, you know.
Yeah.
We also don't have to worry about earthquakes like California.
For sure.
And hurricanes like the East Coast.
That's right. We got it pretty good.
I mean, why not?
Occasionally we'll have a tornado.
Build your stuff here.
Yeah.
But if it's a Hyperloop, that's underground. Doesn't matter. Tornadoes don't matter.
Tornadoes don't.
Not if you're underground.
Not in a cave.
Not in a cave.
What's your crazy tech?
My crazy tech has nothing to do with technology except for the fact that it was started on YouTube.
Cool.
So, Mr. Beast, have no idea who he is. Oh, just aged myself.
He's a famous YouTuber.
Very famous. He just recently hit 20 million followers.
Yeah.
And as part of his 20 million follower thing, he said, hey, YouTube fans, what should we do? And apparently he's known for doing big things.
Huge things, like going into a car lot and buying every single car and then selling them for $1 to anybody who comes in.
But he actually does them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he does it.
Like it's not just
fake.
It's not just YouTube stunts. Like he really does these things.
He does them because he actually makes the money back from his YouTube advertisement.
Right. So someone said, well, how about for 20 million followers you plant 20 million trees?
I like that idea.
And
That's
he
awesome.
said, okay. So he teamed up with the Arbor Day Foundation.
Yeah.
Which is a real thing.
Uh-huh.
And they created #TeamTrees.
Yeah.
And so last week I donated $20.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And you can go to arbordayfoundation.org and donate or buy t-shirts. And they're trying to get to this goal by January 1, 2020 to have all the money.
Uh-huh.
I assume they'll be planting them next spring because we know that that's when you should plant trees.
Yeah.
Based on our recent stuff.
Right.
But as of last week when I donated, they had already gotten to 11 million. So they're almost, I mean, they're over halfway there.
Didn't some big players, did you send me something? Some big players like Elon Musk donate money?
Elon Musk donated $1 million, and then someone else who I didn't know who he was.
Jack Dorsey?
Maybe. Came in and donated $1 million and won.
Yeah, Jack Dorsey donated after Elon Musk. He's the Twitter guy.
Oh, okay.
And there was somebody else.
There are several big ones. Yeah. Like over... Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that one. Good job. Way to use your strength to plant more trees.
Yeah. I have a platform. It's not huge, but all they say is, like, if everybody gives $1, you know?
That's true. That's a lot of dollars.
Toby Lutke.
Never heard of him. Maybe I have.
Did $1 million and won. Elon Musk did $1 million. Elf Development did 250,000.
That's like Santa's workshop.
Jack Dorsey did 200K. Oh, and 150K. Okay. So he did 350,000.
Cheapskate.
But Mr. Beast went out and did 100,000 early on and said, "I dare you to take this space from me." And then someone came in and did 100,001.
Yeah.
So then Mr. Beast went back and did 100,002.
Oh, jeez.
And then said, "Someone, please take this spot." Because you can click on, like, who's donated the most trees.
Oh, I see. That's cool.
So you've got most recent and just most. And you can put a little...
I am sure
saying there,
the Arbor Day Foundation is just loving this.
Right?
Out of nowhere.
Right? It's kind of like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
Right. Out of
how
nowhere,
that went
they
crazy.
have this huge influx of money to plant trees.
So on November 4th at 11:44 a.m. Central Time, they're currently at 12,688,332.
Very cool.
So we've got a little under a couple of months left. You can donate any amount. $1 equals one tree.
Oh, so you donated 20 trees.
I donated 20 trees.
Good for you, bro.
I can only plant 4 in my own yard, but I donated 20.
There you go.
How about that?
There you go.
All right.
I think that's it for this week.
I think that's it.
All right. Do you want to tell them where they can find us, or do you not want to?
I think I want to.
Oh, okay. I just thought I'd give you the choice.
Do you want to?
Every week you're so willing to do it. I never know if you want to. So I thought I would ask.
Yeah, I think normally you say, "Why don't you?"
Yeah.
This week you said, "Do you want to?"
Yeah.
That's nice.
Would you like...
You just made it my choice.
...to tell our future patrons where they can find us?
Patreon.com/LunchTimeTechTalk.
Uh-huh.
You can find us on the internet at LunchTimeTechTalk.com. There you can browse show notes, which I work feverishly on every week.
You do. You do a good job with them.
I appreciate that. I try to make them kind of fun. Maybe not funny, but fun. Anyway.
I enjoy them.
All right.
I don't always look at them, but when I do, I enjoy them.
Well, there you go. Sometimes they don't actually have links. It's just my opinion about a thing we talked about. I'll be like, 1, this link, 2, this link, 3, this link, 4. I couldn't really find a link for this, but here's a thing that I know.
It's awesome. Hey, that works because you know what? We are the owners of this podcast.
That's right. So if you find an unclickable link, it's unclickable on purpose.
Yes.
Because sometimes I do that. You can look at footnotes there. You can also listen to past episodes. You can find the podcast that you're currently listening to on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere else that I know that for sure that it's on Google Play.
Yep.
You can find it wherever you want to find it. You can find the show, me and Mike, on Twitter and Instagram. Nope. On Instagram and Facebook at Lunchtime Tech Talk. You can find us on Twitter at Lunchtime Tech T1. I feel like if you talk to us on Instagram, you're talking to Mike.
Yeah.
And if you talk to us on Twitter, you're probably talking to me.
More than likely.
But sometimes you've responded to stuff.
But we talk to each other, so...
Right. So we know what's going on. But anyway, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Zwift at MSUMAC. That's MSUMACC. Mike, where are you at?
I am at the Twitters at run_bike_Mike. I'm also on everything else at runbikemike. I do want to say that the Zwift meetups, we didn't do one last week, but I'll probably schedule a 30-minute ride sometime this week. So if you're interested in that, just follow me on Zwift or follow Chad, and we'll figure out how to do the meetups. We can only invite 50 people, but we'll try to do another one of those. And also, go to Patreon. Become our patron.
Give us a buck.
Yeah, we've got...
Won't
we do,
you please?
honestly...
Won't you please? Please, won't you be our patron?
We do honestly have some expenses coming up.
We
right?
do. We're coming up on a year.
Coming up close to a year. I mean, yeah, we're only in November, but we got to start thinking about it.
Yep.
So, the beginning of the year, towards the beginning of the year, we'll have the expense of the domain and all that stuff, the podcast hosting.
I forgot about the domain. I was just thinking about the hosting of the audio.
Yeah, so any Patreon type thing that you can do for us, $1, $5, $300 a month.
I mean,
1,000.
Whoa.
10 million a month.
What?
You know, let's go Mr. Beast on it. Will help us continue with the podcast. We do enjoy it. So, but yeah, that's all I've got for this week, and that's where you can find me and you and us.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see you guys next week.
We bid you a fond farewell and adieu.
And maybe I'll have AirPods Pro next week.
You will.
Hopefully.
I feel it.
Come on, Amazon.
I feel it.
Come on.
Jeffy.
All right.
Hook my boy up.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.